And let me also say this as well too, because if we're going to be accountable and not be a victim mindset podcast, I got to put some responsibility on my people and my community. I saw, here we go, man. This is going to be interesting. My alma mater, Morgan State University. I saw them announce who's going to be performing at their homecoming this year. And it was Sexxyred and I forgot who the other person was, but somebody around that kind of tier.
Okay.
And when they made the announcement, the way how the kids just erupted into just like bliss and just happiness and blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And then them just start singing her records and her songs. And I'm just like, am I in the Twilight Zone? Like, do you guys understand? Like, no hate towards Sexxyred because she's just doing what she's doing to get out and do blah, blah, blah. But responsibility for the community to support music like that. I know we want to have fun. I know we want to turn up, but how much fun and turn up are we going to do
while we're brother?
You're
getting old. Because since the beginning of the time, there's always been a Sexxyred. I'm talking from the beginning of us being able to make music, from the jazz times, all of that. No, they taught that shit.
I understand we had Little Kim.
I'm talking before. I'm talking jazz days. I'm talking they talked that shit. No, I'm telling you, since the beginning of time.
Please tell me.
Since the beginning of time, I wish I could find it. I'm telling you, my grandmother had a vulgar ass mouth. I'm trying to tell you, there's always been a Sexxyred. Believe me, their mouths were terrible. Before Lil' Kim, we had Uncle Luke. That shit was scandalous. It was scandalous, and it was nasty.
And
pop that pussy.
And guess what?
It's the same thing.
Yes, and I'm
fucking holding it up.
I'm out of town, thugging with my round.
Yes,
my coochie is pink. My
booty hole is brown. She's stating
Where
nothing but the facts. I'm looking for the hoes. Quit playing, nigga. Come suck a bitch toes.
Okay,
that was deep.
This is my point. And even going back to what you were saying with some of the jazz artists and some of the other artists, I'm not excusing any of that. I'm saying our culture in general, what we idolize are artists and we idolize entertainers.
Okay.
In general. Let me take it just off of Sexxyred. We idolize entertainers.
The Lord already told us what it is and what it's not. It's already been written. They already told us that we shouldn't be idolizing no goddamn body.
Right.
So that's enough.
Okay.
It's been written to say what it is.
But when we look at other groups, right? I just like to look at what are other people doing, and how can we mimic that? When I look at the Indians, or the Chinese, or the Japanese, or the Arabs, and I see how they move, I don't see them doing this.
No, they don't. No.
You know what I mean? Like, they don't do this in their culture, in their household.
But let's go back.
They'll go to the concert.
Right. I'm not talking about that, but let's go back. Nobody does what the fuck we do.
And that's the problem.
And it takes, we do everything on every part of the spectrum. Mm-hmm. Good and bad. We do them to the extremes, like nobody else. So, of course, you're not going to see anybody do anything like us.
Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying is promoting...
That doesn't make it good, but that at the same time, I mean, it's still something that is remarkable, because at the end of the day, their people, as great as their culture is, like we're idolizing some of their parts, they are idolizing ours as well.
Why do you think there's not a Chinese Sexxyred?
Because it ain't sexy. No, let's keep it a fucking band.
Yes, but why are we...
I understand the point that you are making. I get it.
It's just like,
but nobody do it like us.
So fucked up as a community, taking responsibility. We have a problem. Mm-hmm. We have a problem with crime in this country, poverty in this country, and we're not doing shit to fix it. We don't give a fuck. Like, we destroy our neighborhoods. we kill each other like at a high level. Like every group kills each other. Okay, I get it. If you go to a white hood or whatever, they're gonna kill each other. We kill each other. Mm-hmm. I get it, but we have to realize this is a problem. How do we fix it, and how to move forward? But the way how this trend is going, if I look at the music and the entertainment that we have, there is an uptick on more derogative type of music, mm-hmm. where it's more blunt and in your face. Because before, think about it, like when we had BET 106 apart, they weren't allowed to cuss on music videos.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like now it's just like it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like they're twerking there in the strip club. Like what used to be BET Uncut is regular now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so now you have a generation of 3 and 4 year olds who now have iPhones and iPads who can now look at this stuff at a very, very young age. Bro, like this stuff has an effect on our community and our people. And I know I sound like a dinosaur, but it's just like it has to be said. Like, is this the kind of stuff that we want to embrace in our community? Because is this what we want to be? Is this how we want to be seen? Is this it?
Hell no.
Okay, because my thing is, so this is why I like to gravitate to people who are trying to be more progressive, mm-hmm. and trying to go into the direction that I believe will be best for our community. Mm-hmm. So that's why I promote Earn Your Leisure so much, because it's just like going off of what Martin Luther King and Malcolm X after the Civil Rights Movement, both of them before they died, was like, okay, we finally got some basic freedom out of this country. Now we need to focus on financial freedom. Before Martin Luther King died, one of his last speeches that he made, he started talking about land grants that this country gave to Europeans. Come to America. We're going to give you this land in the Middle East so you can farm and do this, blah, blah, blah. We're going to give you free grants. Just come here and we're going to take care of you. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to the people who built this country for you, and we're finally free, you guys said we're going to get 40 acres and a mule, then you reneged on that. Said, well, no, we're not going to do that no more. Gave us jack shit. So when people talk about reparations, yes, reparations are due to us as a people. Do I expect to get them? No. Do I feel a victim about that? No. I'm going to get it on my own. But we still are owed that. I'm not waiting for a handout. I'm going to still get my shit on my own. But y'all do owe us that.
But let me go back to the whole Sexxyred thing, because I just want to make it clear that I don't support this shit. Uh-huh. But I'm not going to down it either, because at the end of the day, that's a blessing for her. It's a lot of people that live that lifestyle for real. And I feel like at some point in time, when we go back to the beginning of everything that you said about all that we've gone through and why these things have happened, sometimes all we are left with is the reality and the result of those things. Mm-hmm. Some people don't even know. They're so ignorant.
Right.
And people are also using their story to create their form of art. Right. Which is a lot of this ratchet music. Right. But it's a lot of people's reality.
Yes, I agree.
Which is an art at the end of the day. Yeah. Now, how do we stop people from telling their story in their reality? When at the end of the day, what the man is handing out is a reward for telling that story. Do you understand? Like it's a catch-22 when you really are trying to survive.
All right, this mic is canceled. Want to hear it? Here it goes. We don't own our culture.
No, we don't.
If you want to research who owns the music industry, you do that on your own free time. But there's a reason why there's certain music being promoted and played in our communities. The same way how certain fast food groups are promoted in our communities. The same reason why we have certain liquor stores and stuff like that put in our communities. Carryouts in our communities. Churches in our communities. If you just look at if you just have simple common sense and you take a step back and you look at predominantly black communities, you're going to see a lot of similar things. You're going to see a lot of trash-ass food, a lot of fast food restaurants, a lot of churches, a lot of liquor stores, and that's it. And crime.
But that goes back to what I was just saying, though. At the end of the day, when they are rewarding us
for doing the bullshit,
that,
right?
How, like,
and that's why
you're now telling people, all right, basically you're telling the same story that the white man was telling us all this time. Go to school, try to be better. Some people only know their reality. Right. That's the point that I'm making. That's why I can't be so against it or so mad. Because, like, the real truth be told, Sexxyred is one of my many alter egos that I, as a black woman, have to consistently, constantly, on a day-to-day, especially when I was working corporate, suppress.
Right. And that's why I said I have sympathy for Sexxyred, and I don't want to attack Sexxyred because I know that she's a product of her environment. And this is where the people come in with the victim mindset thing, like, well, why did she have to do that? Why couldn't she just go and be an A student, blah, blah, blah. People who say shit like that don't know what it's like to grow up in that kind of community where you literally do not see that option. Like, there is no option. Like, a lot of people have the comfort of their home and be like, well, why did you just do this? You should have known that was a crime, blah, 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 blah. Well, yeah, but guess what? If your mother and you don't know your father and your brothers and sisters and your entire community is doing something and you're a baby and you're seeing this shit happen as a baby growing up
in the same community, never leaving,
you can't leave. Who's going to take you out the hood?
Who's coming? No one's going to save you.
No one's coming to save them. They only know what they see. And it's hard to get the messages out to them because it never reaches them.
Oh, and by the time it does, it doesn't look cool.
Right, it doesn't look cool.
The message is always there.
And sometimes the messenger gets killed because he's a square or whatever. Like, yes. There's so many barriers where it's just like, okay, there's so many black millionaires. Why can't I just go ahead and do this? Well, look at Nipsey Hussle. He tried. Nipsey Hussle tried. He didn't want to leave his community. He found a way out, doing his thing, wanted to get back to his community, died on his own fucking block, his own hood. That's the problem. It is a fucked up mind, bro. Like, this is bad. So that's what I'm saying. Like, when I hear music like this, I have sympathy for Sexxyred, but at the same time, I'm just like, bro, we are doomed.
Because we're stuck in a cycle.
Worse. Yeah, because I'm like, the music is getting worse. Because I'm thinking about my homecoming. I had Drake. I had J. Cole. I had Rick Ross. I had Wale. You know what I mean? Like, I had these kind of artists, and that's who we wanted to see. We didn't have this, man. And like I said, like, I don't want to bash them. I know I sound like I'm getting old and stuff like that, but bro, like, it's a difference. And I could just see the trend getting worse. I study music. I see music a lot. The amount of drug influenced music and sex influenced music, and it's not focused on what hip hop or R&B or jazz was originally about. Mm-hmm. And we're just getting further away from that. They're rewarding the bullshit, and all the good trying to be positive rappers don't get heard or seen. But
we gotta get off that one.
Yeah, I know.
Because we could go on and on and on and on and on and on about that.
Yes.
I mean, which is the whole point of our podcast.
Right. So, like I said, not a victim mindset. I take accountability and responsibility for all this. So what I do is I wanted to go to Invest Fest. I watch Market Mondays. I look at Earn Your Leisure. You know what I mean? Because I see this. This is a group of people who are doing edutainment where they're people from the culture and they're teaching financial literacy. They're teaching people how to buy houses, learn about credit, business, anything that you can think of that has something to do with financial and wealth and stuff like that, they focus on. They bring other people on and stuff like that. So I intentionally, not being a victim, realized, okay, how do I get out of this cycle, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, well, if you want to be wealthy, what do wealthy people do? You just follow what the other people are doing. Well, all of them have houses. All of them own something. Well, what's wrong with the black community? We don't own anything. We don't own our neighborhoods, our blocks, our stores, our nothing, our music. We don't own anything. So what do I got to do? I got to own something. So that's why I wanted to buy a house. Because I knew it was important to own something. So I want to be an example and trickle down for people around me and stuff like that. Hurry, buy a house. Like, we got to stop focusing on buying clothes and shoes to look cool to people who don't give a fuck about us anyway. Like, I used to be a sneakerhead. I used to like fast cars. Like, I had a Charger, a Scat Pack, Challenger. Like, I had all that stuff. I was there.
I was there.
I was there. I did it. But I made a sacrifice. I got rid of my car.
But you also got to do it. And I feel it's so easy said than done. And I'm speaking from being a devil's advocate, okay? Because the dealership calls my spirit every day. Like getting that 2012 Hyundai Sonata, and I just think to myself, I should be riding better than this.
I feel you. But
I do know better.
Right.
However, everybody isn't going to make that initial sacrifice like I did. You know what I mean? Because you didn't. Say how great you are, how intelligent you are, and all of that. You still.
I got to get a taste of it, yes. But it also set me back to where I could have been.
But you had to learn that. Because you got to also remember to have gotten to that point, you were already at a point. You can't just go in the dealership and get a Scat Pack.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So that is the point that I am making, Imani, okay? People have to make their mistakes.
But not you can learn from other people's mistakes.
You already knew better than that. First of all, before you bought your Scat Pack, you had already seen other people with Scat Packs. You knew better than that. I know. You did know better. So that's not fair.
It is fair. It's not. Well, no, it's not.
You didn't learn from everybody else's mistakes.
I didn't. But I'm paying for that.
Everybody will pay for their. The thing about life is, especially that's why we get to be at the top of the food chain, because God literally gave us choice.
Yes.
That's all life is.
And I'm telling you, where I want to be, I made the wrong choice. I made mistakes. And a lot of people... That's the conversation. Yes. A lot of people are going to be making mistakes on the way up. People's mistakes are going to look different. You know what I mean? To different people and stuff like that. But I'm just saying, like, yo, I just seen somebody like, yo, if I would have just bought that Bitcoin for $1 back in 2012, I would have had $4.4 million in the bank right now.
Christ me.
You know what I mean? So, like, there's so many things that I could have done differently. We could have done differently. The world could have done differently. Cool. I'm not blaming that. But what I did realize is, like, once I got the information and knowledge, I started to make sacrifices. Mm-hmm. I could have bought a Hellcat. Or I could have waited a year and buy my house.
He said I could have got a Hellcat.
But I know people.
But after you got the car, you didn't necessarily want the car. A lot of us don't want.
I still want the car. I still miss my house. I still miss my Scat Pack. Let's not get this wrong. I miss it.
I know that you do.
And I miss that lifestyle. I do. And I still have good friends there. But I also know people who would sell their left nut to have that Hellcat and not have a place to live. It's crazy to me.
And no place to live. Christ.
It's like, but that's the mentality. That's what I'm saying. Some people are sick. They rather have the fancy car or the nice clothes than to own something, because they don't own the Hellcat. They don't own they own the clothes, but the clothes are liabilities. They're not assets. Mm-hmm. The car you have on credit. You don't own the car, and it's a liability. So it's appreciating in value. We don't find value in owning things that appreciate in value. Assets over liabilities. Shout out to Earn Your Leisure once again. That's what I'm talking about. Starting to realize, let me start purchasing some more assets and become owners of certain things and let those buy my liabilities and I can have my fun. Yeah, it's going to suck for the next couple of years. I'm going to have to drive an electric car. I'm going to have to do this or whatever. But I'm eventually going to get back to it. But I'm making sacrifices now.